What is up, everybody? Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! And we've got ourselves an update coming to the game here. Oh, let me see if I can fix this. 1 second. Better. Hey, all right. July 25th, Thursday update. I assume this is the bug fix for like all the tenacity. Reflection method restart app to take effect. It will take effect at midnight my time, Pacific time, so like 3 hours from now. Adjustment to Ho-Oh's Unite move. Oh, buddy. Range where the feather mark remains when an ally is KO'd, 25 meters now to 35. HP when an ally is revived, 50% to 60%. Wow, they're buffing this on Ho-Oh. Adjusted the amount of Eos energy required to revive an ally. One fish, it's like one ally, 0 to 8, 2 allies, 9 to 16, 3, 17 to 24, 4 fish. If you want to get all 4 fish, that's 25 to 50. Required Unite move gauge increased by approximately 11%. I'm guessing that means this is going to happen faster. Apparently they think Ho-Ohs. The revival of all allied Pokemon with the Unite move, Rainbow Flame of Resurrection, is a fresh aspect of Pokemon Unite, and we believe it is an important element of the Ho-Oh play experience. In observing, is this the only change for Ho-Oh? Oh, it is. Well, I guess that's not insane. But it says nerf buff, so actually it does take more, apparently. Now that we see that. I didn't even realize it. Okay. In observing daily battle data, we found that the number of times Ho-Oh's Unite move was used was far below our expectations, and we've received feedback from players that it's difficult to use. I mean, yeah, kinda. This Unite move has 3 restrictions: the position where the ally is KO'd, the amount of Eos energy Ho-Oh has, and the state of the Unite move gauge. We believe that the current difficulty in using it is due to a lack of balance between these restrictions. There were many cases where the Unite move gauge was 100, but other restrictions meant the Unite move could not be used. I've found, like, personally, I'm kind of not surprised about this because it really doesn't get to use its Unite that much, but I've just found there aren't as many great opportunities to use it as you'd expect, and I really think people should be using it near the start of battles, but here we go. There were many scenes where it couldn't be used. We've adjusted the balance and the restrictions on the Unite move in order to improve the Ho-Oh playability by increasing the number of situations in which the Unite move can be used. I mean, we're going to have to see how busted this is. I would expect them... Like, if they were really buffing an EX Pokemon, I would expect it to be bigger. But this does feel like a good buff, right? You'll more easily revive more allies at 60% HP instead of 25, instead of 50. So we're going to have to see what change that has. Now, I assume we have the big bug fixes. Fix an issue with the duration of disruptive effects. Okay, that's what I thought was going to happen. So we've had this crazy... weird issue. Yeah, Mamoswines, Ice Fang, Woodhammer, Talonflame Unite, Buzzwole's Quick Kick. There's a lot of different names for things. Fixed an issue with Charmander's Fire Burst. Fixed an issue with Ho-Oh's Fly Plus lasting longer than it was supposed to. Pokemon were burned by Chandelures would not become blind by Shandy's Unite. Fixed the issue with damage displayed in the grass. Took a long time for Sableye to become stealth again in stealth mode. So they fixed a lot of the bugs, which we knew they were going to have a bug fix pass, right? Because we have Worlds coming up very soon. And we have a Ho-Oh buff. I'm interested to see what this is. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised it doesn't sound turbo busted, but we're going to have to see. I mean, it's already a great Pokemon and they're buffing it. You know, for everybody who doesn't know what these bugs are, by the way, I didn't release a video about this, but I should. I'm just going to put it at the end of this video. So for the past like week and a half or so, there has been this weird bug with tenacity in the game. And we all thought it was possibly a tenacity change, but then once we found out it was a bug, we just kind of said, forget it. So at the end of this video, I'm just going to put that video on. So that video is essentially irrelevant now, but if you want to see all of the weird stuff that was going on, you check it out. It'll be right at the end here. I do think it's interesting, even though now we're going to find out that luckily they fixed it. So there you go. Let me know what you think of this change in the comments. What do you think? Have you been playing Ho-Oh? Does this seem fair to you? Does this seem OP? I would love to hear from you. And let me know what you think of the Tenacity video, because I did think it was interesting, but it felt like a weird one to release given that they kind of were changing it, right? All right, I love you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see y'all next time. And then now the video. So you may have been noticing some weird things happening with some of the moves inside Pokemon Unite, and I'm going to tell you that we could have just experienced one of the biggest changes in the game and possibly a massive change to how stuns and crowd control and slows and all the other stuff inside Pokemon Unite twice works. Hi, Jake, your resident content cowboy. Yeehaw. This is kind of crazy. Okay, so you remember last week when I talked about the Ceruledge Buzzwole buffs that were coming. All the Ceruledge stuff came, and the Buzzwole buff did as well. Leech life is really, really fast. It's kind of crazy, but it's not exactly because of leech life. And this is the thing that's pretty weird. Let me show you something in the practice area. Okay, so you may have seen this happening. This is Trevenant right now, and I'm pushing this Zarina with Horn Leech, but I'm gonna actually move past Zarina right here and not fully push it the way I would like. I actually leave it behind here. Now, Zarina has a high thing in the game called Tenacity. Tenacity is essentially your resistance to crowd control, and it's always been a really tough thing to figure out how it works, right? But right now, it feels like things are resisting crowd control in a different way than previous. So it's actually not what's happening with Buzzwole is that Leech Life is attacking faster because of a buff to Buzzwole. It's that the amount of time that someone is held and stunned by Buzzwole's Leech Life is being dictated by the tenacity of the opponent. I'm going to show you some crazy footage that I got from a member of the community. They sent it on over to me. I want to give a big shout out to them for this right here. This is from, well, they're called 3741, aka is IOI. So I think this is really, really crazy. And I think a lot of it is going to kind of change the way you think about what's going on in the game. Like, look at the stuns on Zarina right here. Almost non-existent on these two moves, right? But then look at what happens when Zarina is a low-level Pokemon here. I'm going to reset its level so it loses a lot of its tenacity. You can see a stun right there. You can see a longer stun on the longer version of Woodhammer. And you can see that I am pushing them forward with the entirety of Horn Leech. Essentially, Zarina, without all of the tenacity stat that it gets as it's leveling up, is fully affected by the crowd control. Almost fully, right? You can see me still slowly sliding it and having it slide back. However, once it levels up and it has an appropriate level of tenacity, the crowd control affects it for a shorter amount of time. Essentially, what we are seeing is actual crowd control reduction in Unite, given the stats that are there, tenacity. You can see the difference here on this Zarina and this substitute doll as well, and then I'll show you some other footage of other situations. So you can see this substitute doll does not have the tenacity Zarina does. So when I go to push it, I'll push it the entire way, but Zarina I won't, because it has a resistance to the amount of crowd control I'm hitting it with. As I continue to push it, eventually I won't be able to push Zarina at all. It will be left behind, and I will only be pushing the substitute doll with what I have to assume is 0 tenacity as a stat. If this stays this way, this is a monumental change to stuns and crowd control in the game. It's a monumental change. It would make pink emblems a thing. It would mean Metagross's tenacity would be unbelievable and off the charts. Like, it would change the way the game works. I don't know if this is something they're going to fix or if this is actually how tenacity was always supposed to work. We just weren't getting the right version of it right here. And you can see the different stun times between the practice partner and Zarina. Obviously, there's a huge difference between the tenacity of these two Pokemon. Will this stay this way? I'm not really sure. You can even see with the knockup of this Unite move how Zarina falls faster than the substitute doll. Man, I mean, if this is the case, this is just crazy because this is huge for the game. All right, so what you're seeing right here is Gardevoir. It is throwing Moonblast and it's stunning this Zarina. Now, when you see the reset on this Zarina, just so you can see this is not just Trevenant, this is crowd control in general, you see the much longer stun on the, unevolved version of it. What is it, the Steenie right there or something like that? The Bon Sweet, I can't remember what the early version is, but as you can see, this footage just continue to loop here as I'm talking. The stun is very, very different between this fully evolved Zarina with lots of tenacity and this unevolved Pokemon. This is, yeah, a great example of it. All right, so we have Machamp's Arena right here. Watch how fast submission lands, okay? Did you see that? Submission landed incredibly fast. Now look at it here. Submission, the entire animation of submission takes even longer when you are low on tenacity. So you're still doing the amount of damage, you're picking them up and slamming them down, but the amount of tenacity that Zarina has is lowering the duration that you're actually getting hit by this submission from Machamp. It's, yeah, crazy. Now, this clip with Buzzwole is gonna be what we talked about with Leech Life. You can see how fast Smackdown is right there, and then the Leech Life just does insane speed, right? Crazy quick damage. However, when they reset the level, they go back to this Bon Suite, I believe it's called, up into the air, a long Smackdown, and a much, much longer Leech Life. So again, it has nothing to do with some sort of Buzzwole buff that we thought we saw. What we were actually seeing is a shift in stuns in the game. Now we can see in this clip, Machamp is running towards a Tyranitar right here, and you can see Tyranitar uses Unite Submission. You can see how fast it's being slammed down to the ground. Of course, it has an insane amount of tenacity as a level 15 Tyranitar, so the stuns don't last very long at all. Then when we switch the level back down, we can see how long it takes. A considerable amount of time, a huge difference. And I mean, I don't really know what to make of all of this except, well, I guess I have a few thoughts on it. My first thought is, if this is the case, like if this is a change, this is such an unbelievably cool and welcome change. It would be amazing because, again, it would mean pink emblems could be a thing. It would mean Pokemon are affected less and less by stuns as a match goes on, giving you more potential to sort of play in some of these big fights, right? I don't know if this is going to be the case. I just know that if it is, it would be huge. And if this is a bug, I'm surprised they haven't mentioned it. If it is a bug, they're gonna have to fix it very, very soon. Obviously, they need to fix it for Worlds. They have plenty of time for that. But if it's a bug, it's gonna change the way things work with the Ho-Oh release. It's gonna change so much. So we should know very soon, is this actually what's going on in the game? Is this the direction the game is taking? Is this how stuns and tenacity were supposed to work throughout the entirety of the game and something was wrong? Or is this some weird bug? And then let's say it's not a weird bug. Let's say it's how tenacity is supposed to work. Are they going to have specific instances where it doesn't work like this? For instance, you think about something like Smackdown with Buzzwole, you know, the move that launches them in the air with the big uppercut, right? You think about a move like that. That move landing faster has some pluses and has some minuses. I kind of like that Smackdown sends them up into the air and they have like a lofty amount of time that they're up in the air because you can make some plays with that. At the same time, it's gonna change a lot with so many Pokemon depending on how the enemy team is set up tenacity-wise, right? Like, if you use Blastoise Unite and you knock everyone up, they're not all knocked up for the same amount of time anymore. In fact, some of them are gonna hit the ground pretty fast and be able to handle situations differently. It's just, this could mean so much. It also could just be a very, very bizarre bug that for whatever reason was on the public test server and they didn't change. If you remember, I found that Buzzwole change from watching a leak video from El Chico Eevee and saying, that's a really weird way for Buzzwole's Leech Life to work. Then I tested it on the PTS. It was still that way. And now that change has made it into the main game. So I don't know. I want to hear from you. Is this just some weird bug? Is this a change in the game entirely? Do you like this change? Do you think it should stay? If it is the case, I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeehaw to you and yours. And again, a huge shout out to IOI for bringing this to my attention. I was playing Buzzwole on stream and I was told, hey, this is actually not why this is happening. We think it's a much bigger thing. So I love you. Enjoy. I'll see you all soon.